Thank you for joining us again on Core Digest. Beautiful Thursday morning in Lagos, for instance. Quite a long queue characterized the filling stations. Not many Nigerians are excited about that. We showed you a clip earlier showing aggrieved and indeed angry Nigerians in Oyo State. Many are quoted to say, to have said that the suffering seem to be on the high side, and it is an aberration that this is happening in one of the world's highest oil producing country in, of course, at this particular time. Many are also questioning the issue of removal of fuel subsidy and talking about refining our own oil at home, which has been one topic that has characterized public discourse for a while now. Let's turn our attention very quickly to top stories making headline on some of Nigerian dailies. I have the Vanguard, the Guardian, the Punch, as well as the Nation newspaper for review. And I'm already joined by policy analyst Victor OKHAI joining us today on Core Digest. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Thank you
but
for
I'm
finding
glad to be
time to
back.
come.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's start with the Vanguard.
Yeah.
Jonathan Buhari's men clash. The writers here, Buhari's men acting like parallel government, says federal government, says president-elect's team making impossible demands. Notes magnanimity shouldn't be seen as cowardice. Right, the front page picture shows the experience of some Nigerians. It's a picture of queues at filling stations in Lagos as fuel scarcity bites harder. You see, yesterday there, and many Nigerians are also cashing in on the black market, having a few there. I'm not aware of ban on AIT, says Buhari. Unilag gives automatic employment to best 2 graduates. That's on page 14. Senate House leadership contest. Tension in APC as Dugara gathers momentum. Prior to this time, it was George Akume and Saraki of Kwara State. But let's start with this issue of the federal government saying that the incumbent or the incoming administration should not act as parallel government. Probably there are issues that are not being reported openly, or have you been able to identify some of the acts of the incoming administration which shows claim to this?
Well, I want to say this. Being elected does not automatically, until you are sworn in, you are not in government.
Okay.
Until you are sworn in, you are not in government. It's important to note that, and you can't have 2 governments in place at the same time. And so it is important that the incoming government understand this and respect the fact that there's a government in place. You cannot have 2 governments at the same time. And the president, in his magnanimity, was one. It was at his instance that the transition committee was set up. He proposed it. It wasn't a proposal from the incoming government. And so if he proposed it, it means therefore that there is sincerity on his part to be able to say, okay, look guys, you've not been here before. We are here, we know what's on ground, and we would like to make the transition smooth.
That's right.
By filling you in on the various sectors, maybe foreign policy, defense, the economy, and things like that, so that when you come in, you can hit the ground running. If the outgoing government in its magnanimity has done that, I think the incoming government should be patient and should go along. It is not constitutional, and I repeat, it's not constitutional to have a transitional committee. So it's not a matter of right. And so the idea of acting as if you're already in government, it by itself is, that kind of desperation is wrong. And people are already acting as if, almost stampeding the incoming government, the incumbent government, as if they're already out. But until May 29, not just May 29, until that swearing in, they're not in government. So I think they should respect the government that is in place, work along with them, when they get in, if they want to change anything or do anything, they are free to do that. If they need to invite anybody back to say, okay, I'm not clear about this, they should be free to do that. So I think the incoming president or the president-elect should call his men to order. There should be some restraint. The overzealousness is not too good at the moment, and they cannot stampede the people already in power. They are in power until May 29. Firmly so.
There are also very quite amazing changes that characterize the last days of President Goodluck Jonathan in office. Quite a number of people who have been sacked, quite a number of new appointments that have been made.
Yes.
Many are questioning how timely.
You cannot question. There is, you know, I'll tell you this: you are in government until the day you leave.
I understand you.
No, I understand.
I'm just looking at also not just the effectiveness, but the efficacy. What time really do they have to do what they've been appointed?
No. They're tenured appointments. The appointments are not appointments that will end on May 29.
Okay.
You know, government is a continuum. Otherwise, you say there should be no budget until the new government comes in. No, it's not done. You should not release payments for capital projects. You don't do that. You know, it's like a baton in a relay race. You know, you meet it somewhere and continue from there.
That's right.
There is no vacuum. Because there has been an election, does not mean government should be grounded until. So, if anything, between now and May 29, up till before the handover, the government in charge is the government in charge. They can take whatever decision. When the incoming government comes, whatever they feel like doing, they can do. But you know, when we begin to question it, you are trying to say the government is not, there is an illegitimate government in place. We should not allow such sentiments to, you see, we get too sentimental and too, how do I put it now, you know, irrational in the way we reason at times. I see very educated people who, because of emotional reasons, begin to talk as if they are, as if you begin to wonder if they truly went to school. These things are obvious, but they are blinded because of emotion. A man is in government until he leaves government. You know what I mean? It's like a man who is terminally ill, you know, until he dies, he's still alive. You understand what I'm saying? You can't stampede him out of the world.
It's also
he can
possible.
change his will up till the last minute. It is his property. He can do whatever he wants to do with it. I'm not saying, please, so that I'm not misquoted. When I'm using property in terms of a dying man, before anybody accuses me now of saying that Nigeria is Jonathan's, I need to put that caveat quickly, because people are quick to make phone calls and begin to say things like that. But I just use that as an example. You know, so when a man is having a terminal disease, okay, he knows he's going to die at so time, you cannot begin to say to the man, after all, he's going to die. Why should he? He has a right over what he is in charge of up to the moment he dies. Until he dies, he's not dead. And before he dies, the person who is even judging him may die before he dies. You understand what I'm saying? So I think we should just let things be. From May 29, the president-elect, after he's sworn in, with his cabinet, with his team, is fully in charge.
It's also possible that perceived perforation of loyalty on the part of these heads of ministries is one major reason why we are seeing some firing and hiring taking place. At this
I would say, why not? I've thought about it as well. You cannot betray, you know, your principal and expect to enjoy the loot of your betrayal. You understand what I'm saying? If you go and sell me out to probably, we are all Nigerians, so I won't use the word enemy. There's no enemy here, you know. But let's use the word opposition for want of a lighter word. I repeat, we're all Nigerians. And whatever I will do is in the ultimate interest of the country.
That's right.
But if you stab me in the back, you know, and you are supposed to be loyal to me, and you stab me in the back, and then you want to remain in government and then continue to enjoy the loot. If I'm going down, since I appointed you and we're in one government, we may as well all go down together. You understand what I'm saying? You can't stab me and expect to remain in government. It's not possible. So I think it is okay. And in any case, it's not even in the interest of the incoming government for people like that to be there.
But I've
because if they've done that to Jonathan, anybody who does that can do that. Don't think that because anybody who sells out anybody can as well sell out to the next highest bidder.
I've
That's the
also
truth.
been able to clearly define what that word stab means. For someone like the Inspector General of Police, there are rumors that have not been, substantiated.
Disloyalty is a word.
Disloyalty,
Yes.
I understand, but then how do you define disloyalty if a man just simply did his job out of integrity? Did you notice any particular corrupt practice
No, we don't.
on the
I'll
part
say
of the
this to
Nigerian
you.
police
I'll say
during the
this to you.
election?
I'll say this to you. For whatever it's worth, loyalty and disloyalty are two very key. Loyalty is a very key thing in anything you're doing, for leadership. If you have anybody, if you have a team and you have one disloyal member of the team, it doesn't matter if you don't believe in the government, leave the government. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. But if you are within a government and you're being double faced, no, it doesn't matter under what circumstances. Even the devil will kick out a disloyal member of his team. That's the truth. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're either with the person or you're not with the person. And the honorable way out of it is, if you don't believe in the administration, resign from the administration. Live honorably. And then you can attack from outside if you need to attack.
It's all right. Let's check other stories on the front page of the Vanguard. Subsidy, federal government to pay marketers 156 billion naira as full crisis worsens. That's on page 8 of the Vanguard. We'll get to that in shortly. Let's check the front page of the Punch this morning. Polls. PDP governors mount pressure on Muhazu to resign. President-elect inaugurates transition committee. That's pages 2 and 8. Now the picture on the front page of the Punch, they call it the miracle of the century. 4-month-old baby rescued 22 hours after Nepal's earthquake. I saw that video on social media yesterday. I mean, they literally dug the baby out of the ground. I wonder how the baby survived that particular crash. And then you see the rescued baby in that photograph. Jonathan fires MPA managing director. That's on page 3. Federal government demands corpses of executed Nigerians from Indonesia. That's on page 55. Air Force corporal slaps police inspector. Another drama you'll find if you check pages 4 and 5 of the Punch. Federal government warns Buhari against running parallel government. That's on page 2. Let's talk about the rancor within the People's Democratic Party. Earlier, we've heard people calling for the resignation of National Working Committee, even the chairman of the party. But then, have we been able to identify in clear times why PDP lost this election? Because literally we're seeing a situation where the opposition overnight is becoming the ruling party. I've had a couple of people on the show who have said, well, the elections do not reflect the true intention of Nigerians. The umpire was biased and all of that. What are your thoughts along this line?
Well, the president has already congratulated.
As well as conceding defeat.
He has already congratulated. I'm picking my words. He won't put words in my mouth. He has congratulated General Muhammad Buhari, which means we should move on. Going back to the issues of the election is not going to take us forward. I have my own thoughts, but if I bring them here, they won't change anything. Yeah? All we're looking forward to now is May 29. That's why I don't want to go to that. But concerning the chairman of the party and other members of the party and all that, the issue of the way the elections went and all that, there's a need to do a proper post-mortem. There are, political scientists. It will be an interesting research topic for thesis or even doctoral dissertations right now, to go and look at, really do analysis, objective analysis, because, sometimes we just conjecture and think we know what, but I'm looking forward to seeing something. And to do that, you need to look at things holistically, not look at one man. Some have said, oh, the president's wife was responsible. She alone could not have been, make a whole party. or some say the president, some have said, there were modes in between and all that. However, what I would like to say at this point is that, a lot of things were taken for granted that should have been nipped in the bud early on. The PDP Governors Forum, the crisis that went there should have been better managed. The former chairman's, what's his name again? Bamanga Tukur.
That's fine.
The crisis with the former chairman should have been better managed. The crisis in River State and the disagreement between the First Lady and the Governor could have been better managed. And, the media arm, of PDP and the federal government could very well have been much better managed as well. So there are a lot of factors, indeed. There's no one single factor. What has happened is an aggregation of, or a accumulation of all these factors put together. They may be heavily tilted in one way, but then no one can stand in isolation. All of these, put together. Some have also said the president's second-term ambition. I mean, the truth is, whether second-term ambition or not, if he said he was going to do one term, he'll be out of government. If he said he was going to do 2 terms, he's also out of government. So for me, that is not, it's neither here nor there.
But what about the call for the resignation? Because
yes,
there are also people who think that new energy, new blood, new generation of politicians should be injected into the PDP.
No, I agree completely.
To make it a formidable opposition.
I agree completely. Obviously, the chairman has failed. It happened under his watch. And his body language does not suggest that he was fully with the president. He was physically there, but even when he was physically there, the body language did not suggest. I mean, you can see it through photographs on video and all that. It didn't suggest, I didn't see the enthusiasm. We couldn't even deliver his state fine. Buhari in the north, in particular, was a tsunami as an individual. For me, the votes in the north were for Buhari, not even for the party. Put him in any party, he would still have gotten those votes. So it wasn't about APC, it was about the man Buhari. He's an enigma in the north, and that's where he got his votes. In the other states, it was a tight race, and it could have gone any other way. If he didn't put Buhari there, forget it. It would not have been, APC would not have won the election. So it was about the man, especially in the north. All the votes you saw and all that. And so maybe it would have been difficult even for somebody like Muazu to have, because some governors, even PDP governors, lost elections in their states as well. So maybe because they went against Buhari. So it was about the man. It wasn't about the party. And so if the man is not contesting tomorrow, they will have a hard time getting someone to sell. So, but Muazu, by his body language, by his utterances, by his actions and inactions, have not inspired any confidence in the party. I expect that after everything happened, instead of laying blame, he should immediately have galvanized, the party, say, okay, what's the way forward? How do we? I'm not saying any of that.
There was a meeting they called with some other state chairman of the party talking about the need to work together. I think I heard about such recently.
Yeah, maybe even you are not too sure, but it didn't make any impact. Obviously, that's why we're not hearing it. But the Governors Forum is asking for him to resign right now. I don't see anything wrong with that. Let him, if he's still loyal to the party, let him remain in the party. And together, let them see what they can do.
The way it stands now, the APC has the presidency, has majority at the National Assembly,
yes,
both at the Senate and at the House of
yes,
Representatives, has 22 states, PDP has 13, leaving APGA with just 1. How formidable an opposition do you see the PDP becoming in the next 4 years?
Oh, very much so, especially if they're able to. I've told you that the one singular factor in this election is nothing but Buhari. That's the truth. He has cult following in the north, no less. Put him in any party, you see. The last election got about 12,000 votes.
12 million.
12 million, sorry, thank you. 12 million votes. With less than, is it 2 months or less than 6 months to an election? He formed the party, broke out of AMP, formed the CPC, and was able to garner 12 million votes. So, by himself and of himself, he could have gone as an independent candidate. So the truth is, if there's no Buhari tomorrow, and even the Buhari myth will soon be demystified.
Well, wouldn't that be a function of how he performs in the next
That's what I'm
4 years?
saying. It will soon be demystified. You understand?
Let me just hold you for a minute, Victor. Let's take a commercial break.
Yeah.
I will be back with more. Please don't go away.
It is often said that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. But what about the things in life that actually inspire us to believe? Like the things that drive us, the things that move us, and even the things that remind us that the sky really isn't our limit. Because when we are inspired, we are led to future greatness. But first, we just have to believe.
One day I want to build Nigeria's first aeroplane.
I know. One day you'll make us proud.
Rich and creamy peak, extra fortified with 28 vitamins and minerals. Here's to 60 years of nourishing dreams and inspiring the future. The future is bright. Reach for your peak.
Introducing Smart Connect, we get plenty awoof to allow you talk, text, and browse nyafu for 10 in the morning.
Igwe. Say you know say with just 200 naira recharge card, Airtel they summer me with 200% bonus to yarn more with any network.
Now you not call me your fiance.
Relax. In fact, I don't buy your own address every day. As correct vessel.
Anytime I recharge 200 naira and above, Smart Connect they suffer me with free internet to browse.
If you want to make your family follow you enjoy, buy your 4-in-1 family pack for the price of one. Oh baby.
Akururu. This girl too, na family and friends.
No carry last though. Buy your Airtel SIM today.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. It's Core Digest Thursday. Victor High, policy analyst, is still right here with us. Thank you very much, sir, for staying the course on the show.
Thank you very much.
We're talking about how formidable PDP will become as an opposition in the next 4 years. And you mentioned the Buhari factor and what would become of the fame, the Buhari fame in the next 4 years.
Yes, I hope it lives up to the expectations. You know, who wrote the book now? Say great expectations. You know, we're in a state of great expectations right now. I don't think Nigerians are a patient lot. There are those who will want us to be patient, who will beg us to be patient. They are already doing that. But whoever aspires to rule must be ready to hit the ground running. Nigerians will not buy patience. If there is no light, there is no light. And so you can't say to a man, be patient when his business is suffering. You know, so if anything, these are the most challenging of times to be president. And what I fear is, yes, we were talking just a few minutes, just a little while back, and he said, this is one president who has been prepared, who wants to rule.
Who has been determined.
Who has been determined, yes.
Times.
You know, has tried several times. But for me, it doesn't add up, and I'll tell you why. We have two people like that who desperately have been trying to be president. Atiku is one, and excuse no pun intended, but he has a more articulated program and agenda. We know exactly, he has been talking about what he wants to do and the kind of, but all I've seen with General Muhammad Buhari is he wants to be president, but honestly, if you ask me, what does he want to be president for? What does he want to do? I honestly don't know. I've heard him mouth corruption, security, the tripod I call it, which is, what do you call it now? Is first, the pollsters were able to extract that these are three major problems in Nigeria: security, the economy, and corruption. And that if you keep repeating these things, that's what Nigerians want to hear. It will make you popular. They have rebranded him. He has been mouthing it. But the thing is, when it gets in now, we need to see it. I'm looking at a situation where justice will start from within his own household.
Okay.
For me, then I can begin to take him seriously.
But
then,
is it an impossible task ahead, General Muhammadu Buhari?
I'm not going to preempt him, and I don't wish him bad. I wish him well. Sincerely, I desperately wish him well, because I repeat it, Nigerians are not very patient. If he does, I'm seeing the handlers right now, not him, but the handlers are already beginning, not even including him. I watched him on TVC the other day in an exclusive interview. You know, you have won an election. Forget the people who are outgoing. Whatever you say, I won't change anything. You know, I foresee a situation now where they will say, when they begin to fail now, they say, oh, the last administration messed things up. And forget last administration. You have won the election because, quote unquote, the last administration was terrible. That's why people have voted you. Hit the ground running, no excuses. Don't tell us that, oh, the things were messed up, you met an empty treasury. You should have known that before you attempted to go in. You understand what I'm saying? If you're going in there, it means you must have a magic wand. You must have a solution. So don't go in there telling us that, oh, the economy is, you met everything in shambles, they have looted. You should know that.
In other words, you're saying there's no excuse.
There is no excuse. Excusitis as a disease is not acceptable.
Look at this. I'm sure you must have also talked and heard about the ban on AIT by the presidential, what do we call them now? The
media aides.
Yeah, the media aides of the president. But the president-elect came out recently to say the time, I'm quoting him now, he says, the time for change has come and we must avoid making the same mistakes that the outgoing government made, saying in part that he did not in any time ask anyone to ban any media station, and is also instructed right now his other folks to not dabble into that. Does that settle the dust for you? Because there are people who have started talking about...
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. Because I drew attention to this. It was on Facebook I made this post, where he had a town hall meeting in Lagos, and as he stood up to speak, you know, normally, you know, when people are talking, some people may be talking in the background. And then he was trying to walk the people out of the... I said, why don't you simply make your speech and go? They're not interrupting you. You know, but the way he went about it, I could see traits of dictatorship. You see, the military thing is still there. You know, I'm hoping that he can learn the ropes of democracy, because democracy is about, you know, telling a man to run, a man with chain on his leg to run and still holding on to the tethers, to the rope. You understand? Run, but I'm holding on to the rope. The rope is a check and balance. Otherwise, the man will just run loose. You know, it's like you have a bulldog on a leash. You understand? Now, it is necessary to hang on to the leash, but a bulldog remains a bulldog. Now, the reason for the leash is to control the bulldog from going wild. You understand? And so, if the bulldog manages to get off that leash, there's no knowing what damage it can do. And so, the military, you know, are used, excuse my use of that language, in power, are like bulldogs. And if there is no check, you know, they can do and undo. They have absolute power. But that's different in a democracy. And if you have that spirit and that tendency in you, it will manifest, because a bulldog remains a bulldog. Okay? Now, I saw that trait in that town hall meeting, and I warned Nigerians. It happened again this time. The bulldog is bearing his fang, or whatever it is you want to call it. But because people are saying, Oga is not so, it doesn't mean that the bulldog has changed. It still remains a bulldog. But he said, Oga, not be so. If you do it like this, you go lose. And right now, he's still mindful of the fact that, okay, look, people voted for me and all that. My fear is when absolute power comes into his hands.
But even if your insinuations are right, shouldn't your fear be doused in the structures of the check and balances that democracy offers, the legislature, the judiciary, and several other structures?
A more robust legislature would have been one where they are almost equal, where you don't have such a majority as they have right now. then you can have proper balance. Although they do not have two-thirds, which means there are certain decisions that they may not have. But in this era of in the era of ayes and nays,
seven higher than 90.
no, not even that, not even that, not even that. But let the ayes have it, the nays have it. The Senate president or the speaker can simply ignore what is hearing and say who has it. That's the kind of absolute power that they have. You know, you can claim that the nays have it when the ayes have it. You know, so but for me, you see, I think what he's going to learn is that although he and his government may be in place, but the selfish nature of the legislators will still come to play. He would have to learn to cut them. He will have to learn to trade off, because the greed of legislators has not changed. They still remain who they are. They want okay, you want the budget passed? Look, this now our own. Go tell your guy, whoever the liaison is, if you not do this for us, we will not do this. Notice, the Senate, for instance, with all the noise that was going on, opposition, no opposition, when they enter that chamber, they all one. We know they hear what they happen. You understand what I'm saying? Because when they take decision, you don't know how much money they share among themselves. There are certain things that you say when everything in Vegas stays in Vegas. Everything in the hallowed chambers remain in the hallowed chambers. Corruption or no corruption, he will have to learn to lobby. It's something he will have to learn. It's not in his nature and character, you know, but he will have to learn it. It will take a while. He will fumble and wumble or whatever as excuse, what's the name of Fanny? No, not Fanny Kayode. The Fanny Amu,
okay,
the coach. When he said wobble and fumble till we win, you know, he will have to learn to do that. The luck he has is that he has a man like Tinubu still on his side, and I repeat what I said, still on his side, to guide him, because they are the ones that pointed out what has happened to him now. His media people were still there. They were the same ones who banned AIT. So it's not that they are more efficient. You know, they did his bidding. I don't want to see these people here. And they did what he said. But, you know, Tinubu and the rest have said, okay, not be so, then they do more. So if he listens to them, he will have in them people who are politically savvy, who will be able to guide him. You know, I hope he continues to listen to them. And I hope they continue to advise him on politics. It happened in Lagos State. It's now that maybe this guy is becoming more politically savvy, Fashola. But before now, I mean, the man playing the politics has been Jagaban Bogu, Tinubu. He plays the politics while he does the ruling and all that, you know. I'm talking about Fashola. The governance. So, the governance, you know. So that worked for them. Fashola governs, Tinubu plays politics. Maybe that's what will happen at the federal level. Tinubu will play the politics, and then Buhari can then concentrate on governance. You know, but if they don't have this partnership, I predict that this honeymoon will be over in less than 1.5 years.
Well, be careful what you predict, because I recall that
honeymoon. I said honeymoon.
I recall that Doyo Okupe also said that he made similar statements. I think he said something like call me something.
No.
Buhari
I didn't say call me. I used the word if, conditional.
Right.
I said what he needs to do right to survive. You understand? But that if he does not, I said as long as they play the politics and he faces governance, it will work. But if he jetsons that, if the honeymoon will soon be over.
I recall the Kano State governor, who is also a senator-elect now, talking about the lessons that APC has to learn from the fall of the PDP.
Exactly.
And also saying that if the APC falls now, that their situation will be worse than that of the PDP.
But I agree.
Because now they have the PDP to learn from. There's this issue of multiplicity of interest. You recall 5 PDP governors, that APC in and of itself is a merger. The CPC, the ACN, the ANPP, APGA. Men are beginning to question or wonder how to settle
a faction of APGA.
A faction of APGA. How to settle this multiplicity of interest. Do you see this party having the capacity to do this, as well as govern Nigeria at the same time?
To be honest with you, those interest groups will remain, and they will keep feeding on and off the system. And PDP had a similar thing. They had PDM, which was, in fact, they had some interest groups, but they were not quite like the way it is now in APC. And what happens is that each of these groups will continue to maintain its hold on its core group. And the reason being that so that they can negotiate power, they can negotiate their interests, you know, so they won't let go. And the day anything happens, they will split along those lines. Those are like fault lines, you understand? And so they have to continue to stitch it through lobbying, through trade-offs, through a lot of compromise. You know, they have to continue. That's why I talked about the issue of playing the politics and doing the governance. Is difficult to combine the two, you know. But if you have someone playing the politics while you can concentrate on the governance, it's in your best interest. But whether this interest will go, even those that came from PDP, they will keep their own team. The day things don't work out, they simply go back, and you understand.
But are you optimistic about the chances of this incoming administration to perform well in the next 4 years?
I'll simply say let's wait and see.
Okay,
Optimism will not make any difference. You know, whether I'm optimistic or pessimistic will not change anything. There are conditions. Kwankwaso has given them pragmatic counsel and advice. He's a very, he's one politician I respect a lot. And he's pragmatic, he's a realist.
And he delivered.
He did.
When it came to numbers.
He over-delivered.
They call it the Kano scenario.
Exactly. And he came second so he's politically savvy. If he has said so to them, they should listen to him. I align myself with what he has said. And to ignore him will be at their peril.
Let's quickly check out top stories on the front page of The Nation this morning. The big one here, Jonathan angry as Buhari seeks reports on agencies. The writers here, President-elect demands overview on NPA, CBN, NNPC, NCC, Customs, and the FRS. Jolda heads 19-man transition panel. I'm in charge till May 29, says President. To other stories on the front page of The Nation, Bayero replaces Abdullahi at NPA. 140 suspects arrested over Ilorin violence. Ekiti lawmakers cancel peace parley with Fayose. Kuskaris to release Odua's armored vehicles papers, and Kebbi House serves Gabna impeachment notice. Military evacuates rescued girls, women, and there is an excerpt here that says the incoming government should avoid creating a parallel government. The magnanimity of President Jonathan should not be taken to be cowardized. Looks as if the nation laid their hands on some details here. Talking about the president-elect demanding overview on certain ministries and agencies. Would you call that reaching too far at this time?
It is, and I'll tell you why. A government is still in place. You cannot begin to make demands. It's not within your rights. What the government owes you is handover notes. That's all they owe the incoming administration. You understand? Handover notes, up to date. Right now, all the ministers, heads of agencies and all that should be preparing their handover notes, you know, the state of affairs and all that. If you are not in government, you are not in government. Stop acting like you're in government. You understand what I'm saying? 24 hours is a lot. It's a very long time. 24 hours is a very long time.
But come to think of it, all these overviews, are they not documents that can be requested for, not even by a president-elect? Shouldn't they be of public knowledge if they are demanded for?
If you want public documents, you make your request the normal way you should make your this.
So what makes this one different? Because it's president-elect?
No, not necessarily. You have to look at the way in which these things are done. When you begin to treat a man, you want to stampede a man out of government and begin to act as if you are in government when you are not yet in government. That's what is reprehensible. That's what's unacceptable. You understand? You are not in government until you are in government. It needs to be emphasized and re-emphasized. Ambode cannot begin to carry himself as if he's a governor in Lagos State when there's still a governor in charge. You cannot do that. You wait when it's May 29, you take over. You can't begin to move around as if you are. You go now, you walk into a ministry, say, my friend, let me have. Who are you? Until you are sworn, you are a bloody citizen like anybody else. Excuse my curse language. I'm sorry.
I understand how passionate you are.
Yes.
All right, let's look at some other very interesting issues. The military yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, talked about recapturing 200 girls and 93 women from Sambisa Forest. Unfortunately, there are reports that none of them are from Chibok. But does that in any way tells you a story larger than what we have come to believe? The fact that there are thousands, perhaps many more people who have been abducted than the over 200 Chibok girls that the media has hyped over the years.
Someday, the truth about the Chibok girls story will come to light. I've said it on this channel before, that the Chibok issue is over-publicized. Granted, these are lives, these are girls, I have daughters, and I know that everybody is important. I will keep saying it till tomorrow. The federal government college, one in Damatro, where in Yobe State, where about 49 young boys were murdered in cold blood in an early morning raid. Nobody is talking about those kids till tomorrow. They have parents. Those ones are gone. Nobody is even doing a remembrance for those kids. These are a whole generation wiped out. The Chibok girls, at least, hopefully we know they are alive. And we build Mount Everest out of it. Since then, so many more have been captured. Look at this number now, 293. Nobody is talking about them. What we simply cashed in on was what will give political capital. Nobody is asking the principal of the school questions. Nobody is asking the local government chairman questions. Nobody is asking the governor questions, the chief security officer of the state question. Nobody is asking the commissioner of police in that state questions. Nobody is asking people who are on ground. Nobody is asking them questions. Several lorry loads, if at all it is true, came to carry these people. A Modware bus will carry about 50-something people. You can imagine how many more. They passed, went, and remember that they told the governor, say, move these people out of there to the state capital. He did not do it. Nobody is asking him questions about it. Everybody is saying, oh, the federal government, because of politics, the truth will come out one day.
But is it
293? Nobody is talking about them because, we couldn't situate them like we could say, oh, young, innocent, small girls, have been kidnapped, blah, blah, and then we begin to make this out of it. We were playing politics with it. Instead of us to unite and say, okay, if truly these girls were kidnapped, what can we do as one? We're playing politics with it. I don't want to talk about it.
We can also afford to forget in a hurry the disposition of the incumbent government to this abduction, especially when it was fresh.
Let me ask you this.
The fact that the federal government did not own up to an abduction until about weeks after it actually happened.
I still don't blame them, and I will tell you why.
How do you mean?
You have to act with facts. You have to get information. You won't act on the basis of what you hear in the newspapers.
Does that mean it necessarily should take weeks before we get facts?
Not necessarily. You see, I could get up right now and tell you, okay, 500 people have been kidnapped or killed somewhere. You need to go there and get the facts. You understand what I'm saying? You need to ask the people on ground, what happened? Is it true? What did you do about it? Which way did they go? The man in Abuja cannot see. He doesn't know. He cannot tell you what is going on now. He needs the people on ground to tell you. You understand what I'm saying? And then find out, what were you doing? You were there, what happened and all that. You get your facts. If you keep saying, this has happened, okay? In the end, it's okay, fine, we accept.
But we also saw how the fact-finding mission was carried out. It was the wife of the president who summoned all the stakeholders to Abuja to question
Did they all
them.
come?
Of course, that's what I'm saying.
Did they all come?
Should that have been the right channel of summoning them? Is that the
No, that was only
responsibility
one.
of the
That
wife
was
of the
only one.
president?
That was only one. As a concerned person in the position of in a position of responsibility, she did what she did.
One would have thought that
She's a
National
mother. She's a
Security
concerned.
Agency should
She's a
have taken
concerned.
up that responsibility.
Have they not? Did they not? I keep asking this question. I will. You see, at the risk of being accused of whatever, people have said whatever they want to say. The truth will come out one day. The truth will come out. There is more to this issue than we know.
But apart from the political capital that you're talking about, didn't the Chibok girls as a name also capture the hundreds or perhaps thousands of other people who were abducted as a way of turning the world's attention to the reality of things in Nigeria?
No, but obviously it did. I don't have any problem with that. And I say till tomorrow, I'm a concerned parent. I don't want to find myself in a situation like that. It's agonizing. I feel for the parents. I feel for the girls if indeed these girls are missing. I feel for them and I sympathize with them because that's like raping their future and their destiny. You understand what I'm saying? At the point of sitting for school certificate, it's like snatching victory at the point, it's like defeat at the mouth of victory. You understand what I'm saying? Because some of them would since have moved on and all that. So I feel for them. You understand? But what I'm saying is, the way I keep using that language, Ebola approach, if we had used it concerning this matter, it wouldn't be the way it is.
Are you saying that the media coverage of the Chibok abduction contributed to the loss of the PDP at the national level? Because you kept talking about the political capital of the coverage of the Chibok.
No, but obviously they made a meal out of it. So you can't. I don't remember what I said in the beginning. I said you cannot point to any one particular thing. There were several factors put together. All may have contributed to the fortunes of the party.
What do you expect of the incoming administration? Because the military seem to have recorded some level of successes in their onslaught against Boko Haram.
Well, Jonathan has finished everything there is to do. He has given them enough weapons. He has bought weapons, so they have no excuse not to fight the war well. You understand? He's given them arms. He has cleared Sambisa forest for them. He's captured most of the cities that have been recaptured, either were captured. He's practically made life easy for them.
We seem to hear less of suicide bombing.
Exactly. So, the issue of suicide bombing and all that, I don't want to talk about it also there.
But are you
so
not
many
also,
things that are pregnant.
Are you not also concerned
the
that
truth will come out later?
All of these successes were attained just at that 6 weeks postponement of the general election?
No, more of them.
Most of them, actually.
Oh, no, most of them have happened after the election even. They started during the 6 weeks, but don't forget the arms only came at about that time. It might be a coincidence. If the arms came earlier, we probably, because it would have been to their credit to have done all this.
Some other people would think that probably it was the election fear also served as a wake-up call to the incumbent government.
Not necessarily.
Because many were wondering why,
no, I don't agree.
If it was money, was it that Nigeria wasn't that rich to have procured the ammunition prior to that
But you
time?
know how America and other countries blocked us.
How eventually did they get it? How eventually
they
did
got
they
it through France.
So wasn't France or French there prior to that time?
I didn't say France. Friends. Friendly nations.
Weren't French there before election?
No. First of all, you want to go for the best. You understand?
I think that we should.
You want to go for the best.
We should accept that the Jonathan administration laid back for too long on an issue where human lives were involved. I think all of us should come to that conclusion, and they came to pay dearly for it.
You see, elections have come and gone. They've paid the price already, obviously. People have voted. So I don't like talking about things that, are already gone. If it's gone, it's gone. They've lost an election. So I don't like flogging all of that issue. But the point I'm trying to make here is simply this, that you asked me a question, which I was attempting to answer. What do we expect from the incoming administration? I said, the Jonathan administration has made things easy. They could as well have gone to bed and said, look, there's no point continuing to prosecute the Boko Haram thing. leave it, let it get worse, so that they come in and then they cope with it. But no, they have not stopped. The military is there. They've cleared Sambisa. They're still clearing it. They've captured all the towns, or most of it. You understand? And you can see now they are recovering captives, you know, and all that, which any responsible government will do. They did not go to bed. They've been doing it. So they are taking away any excuse for a new government.
So you expect to see continuity in the
I
same
expect the new
strategies?
government to come in and not begin to use insecurity as an excuse anymore, because there's relative peace and security right now. You understand? On the issue of the economy, well, let them come. Generally, the world economy is depressed right now, so it's not a Nigerian issue, so it's not going to be an issue of Jonathan and all that. If they want to fight corruption, they should start from their backyard. Then we will take them seriously. They will earn my respect and they will earn my support. As long as they don't clear their own urgent stable, they begin to point fingers at others when the system is corrupt in their backyard, they cannot count on my support.
Let's take another commercial break now. When we come back, we'll discuss the issue of Senate presidency and also touch on the gloomy food scarcity across the country.
Looming or gloomy?
Looming, I beg your pardon. Please stay with us.
It is often said that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. But what about the things in life that actually inspire us to believe? Like the things that drive us, the things that move us, and even the things that remind us that the sky really isn't our limit. Because when we are inspired, we are led to future greatness. But first, we just have to believe.
One day I want to build Nigeria's first aeroplane.
I know. One day you'll make us proud.
Rich and creamy pig, extra fortified with 28 vitamins and minerals. Here's to 60 years of nourishing dreams and inspiring the future. The future is bright. Reach for your peak.